There was a small cafe in which two waitresses worked, and they were both sitting at the counter when in walked an old man, walked to the back of the restaurant and sat in the booth. The one waitress said to the other, "I got it this time." She got up and she poured a cup of black coffee. She went over and reached into a container and pulled out a handful of raisins and placed them on the coffee saucer. Then she walked over to the man and said, "Here you go, sir." And he said, "Good morning. Thank you." The waitress smiled and then walked over to her coworker and she said, "This guy comes in here every day and all he orders is black coffee and a handful of raisins. And I've noticed that it doesn't matter to him how many raisins he gets, because sometimes we give him a lot or sometimes we give him a little." And her coworker said, "What does it matter to you what this man does?" And she says, "I'm going to go find out." So she walked down and she sat across from the old man in the booth. And she said, "So what's the deal?" And he said, "What deal?" And she says, "Well, every day you come in here and you order a cup of black coffee and you never sweeten it. And our coffee's not that good, I'm going to be honest with you. And then a handful of raisins. So what's this all about?" And he said, "Well, yes, your coffee is rather terrible. And myself am not fond of coffee at all. However, it is a bitter drink and it is filled to the brim. And this reminds me that some people are filled with bitterness. So after each sip, I take a small raisin, one raisin, and I put that in my mouth and then chew it slowly. And then my mouth is filled with sweetness. And then I go back to the coffee. Another bitter sip, and then another sweet raisin. And this reminds me that I can always turn around someone's bitterness and have the situation overflowing with sweetness. She said, "Oh, okay." Then she walked over to her coworker and said, "What a weirdo."